Well, good morning or good evening, everyone, or I guess good afternoon. Might as well cover all my bases here. Today we've just received some very exciting news regarding a potential future update. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but we are going to get some new runecrafting content, which doesn't come around very often. Runecrafting is notoriously slow and arduous to train, but Jagex is looking to add in a new runecrafting method, specifically a new runecrafting minigame called the Guardians of the Rift. So let's take a minute today to have a look at what this new training method is going to be like, what are the experience rates going to be, how much money you're going to make, and what is the content going to look like. Also, just last night, we hit 200,000 subscribers, so I gotta take a minute to thank you guys so much today, but I am looking to make a more specific video for that coming up soon. Anyway, thanks for watching, and let's get started. Now, before I jump into the video, I want to thank Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. Raid Shadow Legends is one of the biggest fantasy RPGs for your phone. In Raid, you can collect and control over 600 unique champions to fight a huge roster of epic bosses. Each champion comes from a unique faction and has its own history in the world of Teleria. One of Raid's newest bosses is the Hydra. It has 6 heads, each with a unique ability. For example, the head of Blight can poison you, the head of Torment can fear you, the head of Mischief can debuff you, the head of Wrath can provoke your team, the head of Decay applies a healing debuff, and finally the head of Suffering can reflect damage, so there's a lot to consider. One of my favorite things about Raid is just the amount of champions and bosses. Now for champions, you have a big selection from stuff like Arbiter, strong and powerful, but also you can play as the large-bellied occult brawlers, so there's a champion for all occasions. This month, Raid is actually releasing a bunch of new champions, along with a new faction war crypt for the Shadowkin. They're also running a new special fusion event where you're able to get one of Raid's newest legendary champions. And new players are going to get a starter pack worth almost $30 to kickstart your game. So if you want to give Raid a try, you should use the link in my description or this convenient QR code. You're going to get the Tayroll champion for free, 200,000 silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard. These will be available for 30 days for new players. And thank you once again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. Alright, so to start things off here, what is the Guardians of the Rift? Well, it used to actually be called Guardians of Gielinor, but it looks like they have changed the name to be more thematically fitting of the lore. So this is going to be a fun, narratively exciting new minigame that serves as a brand new method for training Runecraft. Quick aside here, I do kind of wish they just wouldn't call things minigames. The word minigame is cursed. But either way, obviously there are some successful minigames, but a lot of them are dead. Regardless though, if this passes a poll, we should actually receive it in March, so coming up here pretty soon. Now there are going to be some requirements to participate in the Guardians of the Rift, however they are fairly low level. Now to get access to it, you'll actually have to complete a new quest, Temple of the Eye, which will be a low level novice quest. That only will have a skill requirement of 10 runecrafting to unlock, and the completion of the Abyss mini quest, as well as having membership. The Guardians of the Rift is going to revolve around the Abyss and the Wizard's Tower, as one of the wizards, Purston, has been trying to discover the secret of the Abyss. Now the Temple of the Eye quest is mainly completed to get access to the Guardians of the Rift minigame, but it's also going to reward you with 5,000 runecrafting XP, which is actually pretty significant considering you can do that level 10. That will essentially be enough to get you from level 10 to 22, so quite a lot actually. On top of that, it'll also give you a medium pouch. Now the actual minigame itself, Guardians of the Rift, does have additional requirements, mainly that you have to have 27 runecrafting to start with it, which you will definitely almost have by default, unless you are very low level. Now the Guardians of the Rift is not an instance minigame, and won't involve any combat, which means skillers will have access to it no problem, but also, because it's not instance, there can only be one game running at a time per world. Alright, so how exactly does the gameplay work for the Guardians of the Rift? Well, in my opinion, it's a little bit like a tower defense. So unfortunately, there is a rift open to the Abyss, and tons of abyssal creatures are spilling out. And while it is a non-combat minigame, so you can't fight them yourself, the wizards have reanimated a great guardian in the middle, which will attempt to close the rift to the Abyss. So the entire objective of the minigame is to protect the great guardian in the center, because if you don't, you're going to lose. Every time the Great Guardian is damaged, it's going to lose a charge, and once it's down to 0 charges, the minigame is over, and you have failed. So how exactly do you protect the Great Guardian in the center? Well, there are two main ways. You're able to create Rift Guardians, or Shield Guardians. Now, Rift Guardians are more of an offensive option. The Rift Guardians will actively protect the Great Guardian by moving around the map through the lanes and attacking abyssal creatures as they spawn. Now, to go along with that, you have Shield Guardians, which are the more defensive option. In contrast, Shield Guardians will protect the Great Guardian in a more defensive capacity. Their main job is to tank damage from the abyssal creatures and distract them from the Great Guardian in the middle, so they're kind of like your tanks. So with the basics out of the way, let's have a deeper look at the map. So in the center, we have the Great Guardian, and to the left and right, there are two lanes that the abyssal creatures are going to flow out of. On the right, you have the elemental lane, and on the left, you have the catalytic lane. In this minigame, runes are divided into two categories, elemental and catalytic. Elemental runes are your basic ones like air, earth, water, and fire. The catalytic runes are pretty much everything else, such as mind, body, cosmic, chaos, nature, law, death, and blood runes. So the Guardians of the Rift is broken into three main phases. The first phase is going to be a preparation phase, where you'll be able to create, upgrade, and maintain your Guardians, such as the Rift Guardian or the Shield Guardian. Now once the second phase has started, abyssal creatures will start to spawn and flow into the game. And then in the third phase, even more dangerous creatures will spawn, and things will start to get kind of serious. So the first phase is a preparation phase, and the main gameplay loop revolves around gather materials to create these Guardians, which are going to protect the map, and alternatively you can upgrade them and salvage them. Now to create a Rift Guardian, you're going to need to obtain some supplies. First, you're going to need to mine essence shards, which is going to require a pickaxe, and you'll also need to collect an uncharged battery. So these are going to be two unique materials to this minigame, and they're going to be the bread and butter for how you participate in it. So the essence shards can be found in various nodes of different sizes and can be mined for essence shards. The bigger nodes are located further away from the center and will yield more essence shards for your trouble. There are even some that are on the very edge of the arena, but you're going to need to use your agility to be able to scale up there to get access to the best source. There will be an occasional portal that can spawn that can bring anybody up there that will bypass the agility requirement, but it's not very consistent, so a higher agility level is recommended. Now, on top of creating your defenses, the way you actually will win the minigame is by fully charging the Great Guardian. This is done by combining pure essence, which you will have to get yourself or from the bank that is located here, and you combine that with essence shards to create unimbued essence. Now this can go in your rune pouch just like a regular essence, and you're going to imbue that at one of the runecrafting altars in the center. Now you might notice in the center that there are all of the different runecrafting altars there, the elemental ones on the right and the catalytic or non-elemental ones on the left. That means that the higher your runecrafting level is, the more effective you will be in this minigame. You can upgrade to stronger Guardians, you can get more experience for powering up the Great Guardian, and just overall you're going to be a lot more effective. So with that said, what exactly are the experience rates going to be for this minigame? Well, Jagex has published a table to show where it will fit in with other conventional training methods. Current proposal is to be scaled from 20,000 experience per hour at a low level up to 60,000 experience per hour at a higher level. On top of that, you're probably going to be making around 400,000 to 500,000 GP per hour while being a medium intensity method. Now, the real question for me is it going to be fun? If it's way more entertaining than these other methods, I will definitely do it regardless of the experience rate. So what are the rewards going to be for participating in this minigame? Well, of course, you're going to get runes. So you're going to be collecting points as you participate in the minigame, and you're able to spend those to receive a random reward. You can get a large assortment of them, but they are looking to have it scale with your runecrafting level. Now, interestingly, they're considering adding in a blood talisman. For those who don't know, the blood talisman was in the game temporarily, but it was removed as you don't need it for blood runecrafting in Arceus, but the true blood runecrafting altar is actually in Mauritania, so you would actually be able to potentially craft blood runes in Mauritania if the blood talisman is added. They're also considering adding in a catalytic talisman, which will count as any non-elemental runecrafting altar, which means you could gain access to most of the sought-after altars with simply one talisman. Now, there are some proposed unique rewards for the minigame. First up, we have an abyssal needle, which will be used to create the new colossal pouch. This would finally be an upgrade to the giant pouch and would combine all of your existing pouches together into an abominable Franken pouch, as they say. Now this will very marginally increase the experience rate of all training methods that require runes. Essentially, this will increase the total capacity from a previous, which was 30, to a potential of 40. Next up here we have the Abyssal Lantern. Now the Abyssal Lantern is an offhand item that is going to be held on the shield slot and will give various benefits during the Guardians of the Rift minigame. Now the Abyssal Lantern can be lit with logs, so you'll need a higher fire making level, and by doing this you're going to get a bonus within the game, scaling from normal logs, which will give you increased portal shards, all the way up to redwood, which will make your pouches not decay in the minigame, and will increase your reward points and runes crafted by 5%. Now moving on here, they're looking to add in the Runecrafting skilling outfit. Now unlike a normal skilling outfit, this will actually increase the yield from the number of runes that can be crafted, so it's focused more on profit, not on increasing experience rate. Each piece would have a 10% bonus to craft additional runes, going up to a total of 60% when all pieces are worn. That seems pretty significant actually. Now the final reward they're proposing is the Ring of Elements. This would be a ring that you can charge with a law rune and an elemental rune, and it would allow you to store a ton of charges that would allow you to teleport to very popular locations, such as the Duel Arena teleport essentially, where we go to the Fire Altar, a Water Altar teleport that would bring you west of the Water Altar, Air Altar which would be south of the Air Altar, and the Earth Altar which would be south of the Earth Altar. Obviously I assume that these are not going to be right to them, but to a similar location, just more of a convenience. That is it. They have a ton of new potential rewards here, and honestly the proposal seems pretty good. There's a lot to unpack here, and overall I think this will speed up runecrafting marginally, but not significantly, and I think it adds in a lot of fun new content. Anyway guys, that is going to be it for today's video. Let me know what you think down below. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Now before I go here, I want to give a huge thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. Thank you so much to Cesarium OSRS, The Hybrid, Alejandra, Sejuani's Flail, and Kush Patel for all being subscribed at the Dragon tier. Thank you guys so much, really appreciate it. Also a giant thank you to Ryan Shady, Mexos, Base Titch, NDM001, and YoYoSub89 for all subscribing at the Runite tier. Really means a lot. As always, if you are looking for another way to support the channel, becoming a YouTube member is a great way to support me directly. You will be immortalized in all of my future videos, get access to a custom role in my Discord server, and my video release schedule. Thanks again guys, and I will see you next time.